What if I told you that every rejection you've ever faced wasn't a wound, but a weapon? What if the very thing you've spent your life avoiding, the sting of a no, the ache of being overlooked, the burn of dismissal, was never meant to break you, but to build you? This isn't a feel-good pep talk. This is a war cry, a line in the sand, a challenge to rewire everything you think you know about failure. Rejection isn't your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. It exposes the fears you haven't conquered, the wounds you haven't healed, and the limits you've set for yourself. It is the mirror that forces you to see who you really are. But here's the twist. If you dare to look, you won't find pain. You'll find power. You won't find weakness. You'll find wholeness. Because rejection isn't about them. It's about you. And this is the alchemy of rejection. And your transformation starts now. Carl Jung, the legendary psychologist who dared to explore the darkest corners of the human psyche, called this process shadow work. It is the battle of confronting what you've buried, the fears you silence, the insecurities you mask, the flaws you pretend don't exist. And here's the truth no one tells you. Rejection is one of the most powerful weapons in this battle. Because every time someone rejects you, they are not rejecting you. They are rejecting something they see in you. A part of yourself you have yet to face, a wound you have yet to heal. And that is where the transformation begins. When you stop running from rejection and start learning from it, you step into a level of self-awareness and emotional freedom that most people will never touch. Let's start with the obvious. Rejection hurts, it burns, it tears, it shakes you to your core. It leaves you feeling exposed, vulnerable, small. But why? Why does a simple no feel like a dagger to the soul? The answer isn't in the rejection itself, it's in what it awakens within you. Because rejection doesn't reveal anything about them. It reveals everything about you. It drags into the light the insecurities you've ignored, the doubts you've silenced, the fears you've buried under confidence and distraction. When someone tells you no, they aren't just closing a door, they're holding up a mirror. And what you see staring back, that's the real battle. This is where Carl Jung's concept of the shadow comes into play. The shadow is the part of your psyche that houses everything you've rejected about yourself, your flaws, your fears, your darkest impulses. And when someone rejects you, they are inadvertently shining a light on your shadow. They are showing you the parts of yourself that you've been too afraid to confront. And that is why it hurts so much. Because rejection doesn't just wound your ego, it forces you to face the truth about yourself. And the truth, as they say, can be a bitter pill to swallow. But here's the twist. The pain of rejection is not a curse. It's a catalyst. It's a wake-up call. It's the universe's way of saying, hey, there's something here you need to look at. And if you're brave enough to heed that call, you'll find that rejection is not the end of the road. It's the beginning of a journey into the depths of your own psyche, where your greatest power lies. The illusion of external validation, why chasing approval is a dead end. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. External validation. We live in a world that is obsessed with it. We crave likes, follows, compliments, and applause. We measure our worth by how much others approve of us, and in doing so, we become slaves to their opinions. We become dependent, fragile, and desperate. We lose sight of who we really are. But here's the hard truth. External validation is a mirage. It's a trap. The more you chase it, the more it eludes you. And the more you need it, the less you attract it. Why? Because neediness is repulsive. It reeks of desperation. And the human mind, whether consciously or unconsciously, despises desperation. It doesn't matter how good your intentions are. It doesn't matter how sincere you are. If you emit neediness, you emit rejection. This is where detachment comes in. Detachment is not indifference. It's not coldness. It's the opposite. It's the deep understanding that your worth does not depend on external approval. It's the realization that you are already enough. And when you embody this truth, something magical happens. You become magnetic. You become irresistible. Because the world senses that you no longer need it. And that is the ultimate power. Rejection is one of the most emotionally intense experiences a person can face. It stings not merely because we're denied something we want, but because it exposes something deeper. Our insecurities, our fears of inadequacy, and our unresolved wounds. Carl Jung introduced the concept of the shadow self, the hidden, repressed aspects of our psyche that we refuse to acknowledge. He argued that much of our suffering stems not from external circumstances, but from our refusal to confront and integrate these hidden parts. Rejection is one of the most potent triggers of shadow work. When someone tells you no, when they overlook you, dismiss you, or fail to reciprocate your feelings or efforts, it forces you to confront the parts of yourself you may have been avoiding. Why does this rejection hurt so much? What does it say about my sense of self-worth? What old wounds is it reopening? These are the questions that arise when you begin the process of self-examination through rejection. Shadow work, facing the truth. Within shadow work is the courageous process of bringing these hidden aspects to light. Instead of suppressing or running from pain, you turn toward it. Instead of blaming others for their rejection, you ask yourself, what is this rejection trying to teach me? Jung believed that the path to wholeness, what he called individuation, requires us to embrace all parts of ourselves, including the ones we find undesirable. Most people avoid this work because it is uncomfortable. It requires admitting to insecurities, confronting painful childhood memories, and acknowledging failures. But avoiding the shadow self only leads to more suffering, manifesting in self-sabotage, low self-esteem, and a desperate need for external validation. Rejection provides an opportunity to begin this work. Each time you feel the sting of being turned away, instead of drowning in self-pity or anger, take a step back and ask, what belief about myself is this rejection reinforcing? Am I defining my worth based on others' approval? What patterns am I repeating in my life that might be attracting rejection? The gift, hidden in rejection. Every rejection is a gift in disguise. It reveals to you a part of yourself that requires healing. If you are repeatedly rejected in romantic relationships, perhaps you need to explore your attachment wounds. If you are overlooked in your career, maybe it's time to confront self-doubt or lack of self-assertion. Jung emphasized that facing the shadow is the key to psychological growth. Once you begin to integrate your shadow, rejection loses its power over you. Instead of seeing it as a personal failure, you start recognizing it as a mirror reflecting where you need to grow. The moment you stop seeing rejection as a personal attack and start seeing it as an invitation for self-discovery, you take back your power. The power of authenticity. Why being yourself is the ultimate attraction. Many people exhaust themselves seeking approval, afraid that being their true selves will lead to rejection. Ironically, the opposite is true. Authenticity is magnetic. Jung believed that living inauthentically, wearing masks to gain approval, leads to internal conflict and disconnection from the self. He argued that individuation, the process of becoming your truest self, is the path to deep fulfillment. When you stop fearing rejection and embrace who you truly are, something remarkable happens. You no longer seek validation from those who don't value you. You attract people who resonate with your authentic self. You gain a profound sense of inner peace and confidence. This is the paradox of attraction. The less you chase it, the more it comes to you. When you no longer need external validation to feel whole, you become truly powerful. Rejection as a teacher, not an enemy. If rejection is a mirror, then it is also a teacher. Every rejection carries a lesson, a key to deeper self-awareness. The challenge is whether you will use that key or continue to run from the lessons rejection offers. Rejection teaches emotional resilience. The more you face rejection, the stronger you become. The greatest leaders, artists, and innovators have faced immense rejection before achieving success. Self-worth. Beyond external approval, true confidence comes from within, not from validation. Alignment with what's meant for you. Every rejection redirects you to something better suited for your growth and journey. When you embrace rejection as an ally rather than an enemy, you unlock a level of self-awareness and inner strength that few people ever attain. The final truth. Rejection is your greatest ally. Here's the final, life-changing truth. Rejection is not a wound, it is a window. It shows you where you need to grow, what you need to heal, and who you truly are beneath the masks you wear. If you are willing to stop running and start looking into the mirror rejection holds up for you, you will discover something unexpected. Not pain, but power. Not weakness, but wholeness. Because rejection at its core was never about them. It was always about you. And when you realize that, you will never fear rejection again. You will embrace it. You will learn from it. And you will use it as a tool to become the best version of yourself. This is the alchemy of rejection. This is the journey of becoming. And it begins with one simple choice: to stop running from rejection and start learning from it. Because the only rejection that can truly hurt you is the rejection of yourself. And once you stop rejecting yourself, the world will stop rejecting you too. Rejection is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your transformation. It is the fire that burns away illusions, the storm that shakes loose false identities, the mirror that forces you to see yourself, raw, unfiltered, and real. You have two choices. You can continue running, numbing, pretending rejection doesn't hurt, or you can stand in the fire and let it forge you into something stronger. You can use it. You can own it. Because the truth is, rejection was never about them. It was always about you. About your relationship with yourself, about the wounds you have yet to heal, the power you have yet to claim, the shadow you have yet to integrate. And once you do, once you stop fearing rejection, once you start seeing it as a tool for self-discovery rather than a sentence of unworthiness, that's when you step into your power. That's when you become unshakable. This is just the beginning. Because beyond rejection lies something even more powerful, true freedom. The kind that comes when you stop seeking approval, when you break free from the need to be chosen, when you realize you are already whole. And that's where we're headed next. Because if rejection is the catalyst, then what comes after is even greater. It's time to take the next step. It's time to step into the fullest, most authentic version of yourself. Are you ready? If this message resonated with you, if it challenged you, awakened something within you, or shifted your perspective, then don't stop here. Hit that subscribe button, like this video, and join me on this journey of deep transformation. Because this is just the beginning, and what's coming next will take you even further. Let's grow, evolve, and uncover the truth together.